thank you for joining us today to talk about revolutionizing your transcript delivery with eTranscripts for Banner. So what is Ellucian eTranscripts? It's a secure, real-time, automated transcript ordering and delivery solution between the Clearinghouse and Ellucian. So it works with any Ellucian SIS, but today we're here specifically to talk about Banner. So it is automatically enabled in your Banner student information system. There's just some roles that need to be configured for you to have access to that. There's no additional software or hardware required within your institution's Banner environment. As I mentioned, it is already enabled for you. And then we do have a strategic partnership between Ellucian and ourselves, and we have bi-weekly status meetings to check in on any open action line cases for our implementing and live institutions. And then we have a monthly or quarterly partnership meeting with their product and partnership folks to talk about what needs to be upcoming as far as any fixes or enhancements, and just to get alignment with them. And there is no cost to the institution for the service. So it is no cost from the Clearinghouse or Ellucian to use this service. Here's a high-level overview of how the process flow works. So the student does come to the Clearinghouse website to place the request. After it's been placed, it goes into the Ellucian eTranscripts cloud and then into your Banner system. Once that order can be completed electronically, it'll send back the transcript to us and then send the closeout status through the cloud back to the Clearinghouse for us to complete that request and send it off to the recipient and notify the student that the transcript's been sent. But if it's being printed locally at your institution, it will be sent to your local printer and then send that closed out status back through the eTranscripts cloud to the Clearinghouse for us to close out that request and notify the student that the transcript is being printed and sent out. Now on the administrative pages. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Clearinghouse website, so you'll use your login to get in, the same one you use today for any of our other services, and then you'll have access to this Transcript Services tab where you can come and see the different options. This is where you would be living with your orders if you wanted to come in here and see any information. We do provide reporting and updating your welcome page here. You can also use our third-party ordering for registrar service where you can order a transcript for one of your students on their behalf. If you want to provide them a courtesy transcript to be sent anywhere, you can do so from this link here. ETX Plus, this is where they would access that user interface versus if they did the SFTP receive area. And then the bottom areas are for our admissions ordering that we offer for the admissions schools that sign up for it for third-party ordering, and then another next-gen integration for other student information systems. Once they click over, this is what they'll see, the summary snapshot of all of the open orders. Now you won't process your orders here, you do look at them in Banner, but we do have all of the orders here in the Clearinghouse website as well. So you can see the open orders, you can search for any old closed orders. We keep all orders from the time you activate the service moving forward. And then your reports area, which I'll show you in a second, and then your administrative area, that's where you would update that welcome page. And then here's what the order information looks like if you detail into an order. And at the bottom, there's that manage attachments area. So if you do allow orders to be completed with attachments, if the order has an attachment, it'll sit in your side with an attachment review status, and then you'll have to come over here and manage those attachments on the Clearinghouse website. And then you'll see that attachment here. You can click on it or just click send with order, or download or upload any attachments you want sent with that transcript. You can waive the attachments. So the student says, I don't need you to look at this or process this. During the order, when they upload that attachment, that question box will pop up. And then if they click, no, I don't need this reviewed, then it'll just flow through and you don't even have to come over here and look at those attachments. They'll just flow through to completion with that attachment. So that is an option, so you don't have to review all of the attachments. And then the reports area, we have multiple different reports for you, including a reconciliation report that you can use at the end of each month to see how much monies were collected on your behalf, and we will be remitting to you. And then also different volume reports and pie graphs. Transcript purpose report, that's this one right here. So we do collect the different reasons why the students are ordering the transcript and then display them for you here. You can click into each piece of the pie and it'll detail all of the order information for you in a CSV spreadsheet. We do collect information on the destinations and recipients, so you'll be able to see your top recipients and destinations that students are sending their transcripts, and then fulfilled information on the time frame that you searched by on how many transcripts were placed during that time as well. And then a reconciliation report sample. It's pretty hard to see, but it's got a lot of information. So we have a lot of different reporting options for you, and if you're looking for something that we don't offer, just let us know, and we can look at getting that added into a reporting structure. And then here's that administrative page, which is the welcome page and what's displayed on there. You can update it at any time. As soon as you click that save button, it'll update your welcome page. All right, now we're jumping over into the banner side of things. So your project plan milestones, these are all of the milestones you'll have to go through during the implementation to get live, and the estimated time frame we figured out that it takes. Now, every institution is different during the implementation phase. So some schools want to do it really fast and they can get it done in a week or two. Some schools want to take a while and do it in 3 to 4 months. So it just depends on your institution and your eagerness to move over and get live with the service. But these are all of the different steps you go through, both from a technical as well as from a business registrar side of things to get the service live. So the technical side does all of the configuration and setup, and then you do have to test the service and make sure that everything is working as expected for you all, and then we'll migrate everything from our test environment to the production environment for you all to go live. The key roles that are involved will be the registrar staff, a system analyst, a system programmer, database administrator, and a network server personnel. Now, all of these people may not be required for your institution depending on what roles each person takes, but we do need to have these type of roles or access people to get the setup done in the beginning and when you go live. Once you're live, they don't need to be involved. This is all just for the beginning setup pieces and then getting into production. This is the banner screen. So this is where you all will be living and processing and viewing orders. Again, you don't touch every order. Most will flow through to completion on their own. So about 90 to 95% will be touch free. But there are some of those orders like the needs research that I mentioned, or attachment review if you offer those, that you will have to look and search for and touch those orders. Now this is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to detail in, but you won't see these checkboxes over on my next screen. So I did want to show you the full screen so you can see all of the options. Here's a more close-up screenshot, so you'll be able to see all of the newest orders up here at the top will populate for you. You can search specifically by a certain set of information. So if you want to just pull up all of those in a needs research status, you can do that. If you're looking for a particular student, you can do that as well. So there's lots of different search options to get you this information. But we do display the order number, order date, student's name, their student ID, and then if there is a different student name that pops up because the order is in needs research, that will populate over here. And then the status of the order and a couple options you have over on the right-hand side to touch those orders. So I mentioned needs research. So when those orders do come into your system, Banner does look for a potential match for those students, and it populates that information here on the screen for you. You can go into these different tabs up here at the top to see different information about that specific request. So once you highlight it, like the top one here, you can just click on student information and see that specific information. But if you say, oh, yep, that's the right student, and you want to click that, there's a button over here that you just select, and it will match that student to that order, and then it'll finish processing that request for you. If you're not sure that that student ever attended your institution, Banner can't find a match for it, or maybe they're in your legacy system, that's something that you'll have to do further research on. There is an option to click the cancel order, or if you want to let the student know that you can't find their record, there is a button for that over here as well. And it'll send a status back to us, and we'll notify the student that, hey, we couldn't find your record. Here's some steps to take. Make sure you order from the correct institution, or call us if you did really attend this institution so we can find your record. Now for the holds, if the holds do go into your system, if you allow those orders to be completed, the status will be in a holds restriction status. Now the student can call and say, hey, I know I have a hold on my record, but I really need my transcript for this job I'm applying to. And if you make that exception, there's this holds override button you can click and it'll finish processing that one request, but it'll leave that status of the hold on the student's record in your Banner system. So it just completes that one request, but if they were to reorder, they would still see that hold on there. Now, if you detail into the order, you can see more information about that request. So you see information about the student on this screen and their contact information. We do pass that over to you. You can see the enrollment history. So if they do enter approximate years of attendance, you'll be able to see that here. And if they have attachments, once you do review them, if you decide to do that on the Clearinghouse side, you just come back here, click Attachment Review, and it'll finish processing the request. And then you can see information about the recipient, where it's going, when it's going to be sent. So if there is future processing options, you'll see that on this screen of when it's going to be completed. And then the last one is the order history and any holds information as well. So there's a lot of information you can see in your Banner system about that request. And the name of this new screen is called Shaetor, or SHAETOR. And that's what you'll be able to get enabled when the technical team gives you access to it. But it is already there with the Banner student information system. So that was the Banner screens and the processing. Most orders should flow through and you won't have to touch them, but there will be those few that you do have to touch. So we do recommend that you go into Banner on a daily business day basis just to check to make sure if there's any orders that need to be touched or handled in there for your institution. We do have another real-time integration that I mentioned briefly, which is our next-gen integration. So if you have a legacy system that you want to integrate with and have the same options that you do with eTranscripts for Banner, you can integrate our next-gen API solution with your legacy system as well. It does all those API real-time calls, but the processing screens for your school wouldn't live in Banner because it's a legacy system. They actually live on the Clearinghouse. So we created that user interface for you on our side. So you would just have to get those API calls hooked up to your legacy system. We also have that third-party ordering registrar, that user interface. You can do one-off orders for your students as a courtesy, or we have a batch solution. So if your institution provides, let's say, free transcripts when a student graduates and you want to send us a batch file of all those orders, you just upload that batch file to the SFTP account. We create those orders for you and then send them over to your Banner system to be completed and then get the transcript back and send it off to the recipient. So that's really hands-off. Nothing your institution has to do besides get that order file up to our SFTP and we create the order and fill it for you. And then I did mention that waive attachment review. The student has the option to say, yes, I don't need you to review it. If you're not sure who your Clearinghouse contacts are, either your regional relationship manager or your client success rep, you can go here and get their name and contact information and you can reach out to them directly. And that's your institution's main point of contact at the Clearinghouse. If you have any more questions, please reach out to your representatives and they can get you a more detailed presentation and answers for your institution, and look out for more webinars coming soon.